How can collaborative technology platforms be used to increase student achievement? The problem of focus in this study is to investigate the combined use of progress monitoring, technology, and response to interventions are effective means to analyze assessments, track student progress, and provide effective interventions to ensure success. Recent reports have shown that high school students in the United States are in need of instructional interventions to help them increase their academic achievements. The purpose of this study is to determine if the combined use of progress monitoring, technology, and RTIs is an effective means to evaluate assessments, track student growth, and provide effective interventions to ensure student success. Research questions focused on during this study: is there a connection between the use of school-wide technology-driven collaboration, online scheduling tools, and the effective implementation of RTI? Do these tools affect student achievement? And does school-wide use of I-Before-E, School Assist Online, and Google Classroom have a positive impact on student achievement? Why is this study important? First, the data provided by the researcher of this study will be used to show the possible impact of using technology for teacher collaboration and the implementation of scheduling RTI. This quantitative study will analyze the impact of using collaborative technology platforms to increase student achievement, and evidence will be provided in an attempt to demonstrate how current data-driven collaboration and intervention practices have had a more positive impact on student progress and growth than the practices from previous years. Secondly, this study is significant because it will provide educators with concrete evidence to support school-wide implementation of an effective RTI plan. Data in this study will be collected and analyzed in order to determine if whole school implementation of an effective RTI plan might improve not only student performance but also overall school performance. And lastly, this study is critical because it seeks to show how progress monitoring and instructional interventions can possibly lead to an ongoing deeper understanding of unfamiliar and/or confusing information or concepts by scaffolding and building on what students have previously learned. The researcher will investigate if interventions based on the needs of the students can gradually move target students from teacher-led instruction to independent comprehension. Some assumptions of this study are that the first assumption of this study is that the study site has the technology resources that are needed to implement these practices. It is believed that most schools, administrators, and teachers have the tools that are required to implement technology-enhanced progress monitoring and RTI scheduling. Another assumption of this study is that all teachers have received ample opportunities for professional development in order to become more knowledgeable of the practice and utilization of technology-based, data-driven collaboration and instruction. One limitation of this study is that the number of transient students that make up the population. Students in this population enroll and withdraw on a regular basis, and the study is limited to non-transient students whose progress can be tracked consistently from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year. Another limitation of this study is homeschool communication. If there's a lack of communication between teachers and parents, this could make students less accountable, which could lead to stagnant or negative results. And a final limitation of this study is the teachers who do not actively participate in school-wide implementation of RTI. There's a small percentage of the faculty that fails to effectively communicate the proper RTI locations, and not all teachers involved have sufficient understanding of the key elements of this study. There's also some delimitations to the study, or a delimitation of the study, which is student access to Google Classroom at home. Many of the students in this population lack the resources that are needed to access Google Classroom and other technology that might be necessary for timely completion of activities if outside of school participation is required. In reviewing the literature, the topics that are discussed are progress monitoring, response to intervention, technology, and student achievement. Studies focused on progress monitoring determined that data-driven instruction and interventions had a positive impact on student achievement. Evidence from studies have shown that keeping track of student progress levels allow researchers to measure the effects of different components of progress monitoring. In regards to response to interventions, studies have found that assessment was necessary to make data-driven instructional decisions focused on positive student learning outcomes. In order for interventions to be effective, delivery included ongoing assessment that measured student progress. By evaluating the progress of student learning, teachers made informed instructional choices and maximized their time with students. Studies also showed the effectiveness of RTIs as tools to identify at-risk students or students with specific learning disabilities. Studies also examined how to create RTI practices to accurately identify educational needs and benefits in order to make instructional decisions. In regards to technology and student achievement, technology allows data to be stored and shared for the purpose of monitoring student progress and analyzing intervention techniques. Findings have explained that technology-enhanced continuous progress monitoring and instructional management systems provide teachers with data-driven instructional choices that help students meet the standards and improve their test scores. Through this study, it was investigated if there was a connection between the use of technologies such as Google Drive and School Assist Online and scheduling and implementing RTI effectively. Analysis was conducted using student achievement results before and during the use of web-based scheduling programs such as School Assist Online and Google Drive. The research was quantitative in nature as the researcher analyzed pre-existing data that were comprised of archived data such as pre- and post-assessments, remediated test correction, statewide assessment results, and school performance scores. The data were used to compare current student achievement results with the student achievement results from previous school years. The sampling in the study was determined using convenient sampling. The researcher's home school was used in order to conduct this study, and therefore the researcher had access to information and data that was available on site. The sample allowed the researcher to access student achievement data for high school end-of-course testers from one specific school in order to represent the entire population of end-of-course testers in the state of Louisiana. The researcher reviewed archived statewide assessment results and school performance scores from several consecutive school years. All data were stored electronically in order to ensure that no identifying information remained and that it was kept confidential and only available to the researcher of the study. Names were separated from the data and identifying information was removed from archived records. The data collected during the study were analyzed using the Excel program. This program allowed the researcher to create tables and graphs that compared the statistical data that were recorded. These comparisons were then used to analyze the connection between collaborative technology and increased student achievement. Through this project, the researcher focused on the fact that the administration, faculty, and students at Pineville High School witnessed a steady increase in school performance scores. After comparing school performance scores and test data for several consecutive school years, it was concluded that teachers needed to become more knowledgeable of I-Before-E, School Assist Online, and Google applications to effectively implement technology for the purpose of analyzing assessments, tracking student progress, providing intervention opportunities, and ensuring student success. Through this professional development activity, teachers at Pineville High School benefited from learning how to use Google Classroom and School Assist Online. The goal of this program was to increase teacher knowledge and understanding of I-Before-E, School Assist Online, and Google applications in order to promote student success. The description and implementation of the program goes as follows. Teachers signed up for 2 after-school professional development sessions or 2 professional development sessions during their planning period. Email surveys were sent to the teachers prior to the professional development sessions to gauge their understanding and comfort level when using these programs. An email poll was also sent to determine which teachers would be attending which professional development sessions, the after-school or during the planning period. The instructor presented the information to small groups to facilitate the learning of fewer people and focus on the areas that needed the most instruction. Teachers needed to bring their laptops and needed to come prepared to interact with the applications and resources. This provided them with a hands-on learning experience that helped them become more familiar with the various skills. Teachers completed various tasks and created sample products with related materials. This confirmed a basic understanding of the learned concepts. The instructor then emailed surveys to assess if teachers felt more comfortable when using both programs, and an email survey was also sent to allow teachers to ask follow-up questions. Finally, the instructor shared a poll to allow teachers to sign up for one-on-one supplemental instruction. In order to evaluate and use the data, one method used by the instructor to measure the effectiveness of the program was pre- and post-professional development surveys. These surveys assessed the differences in teacher knowledge and comfortability when using Google applications and I-Before-E School Assist Online. The instructor also compared multiple consecutive statewide testing results and school performance scores for Pineville High School in order to measure the effectiveness of the program. The instructor determined that there was a steady increase in both statewide test scores and school performance scores between the 2014 and 2016-2017 school years. Upon using the data provided in the charts shows an increase in teacher understanding of I-Before-E School Assist Online and Google applications, which increased the likelihood of teachers using the programs to monitor student progress and schedule interventions based on the student's needs. The increased use of I-Before-E School Assist Online and Google applications helped teachers effectively promote student success and school performance. In thinking about this program and the study that went into it, this program had a few strengths. This program was a hands-on professional development activity that gave teachers real-life application of the tools they were implementing. Through this hands-on professional development activity, teachers benefited from learning to use Google Classroom applications and I-Before-E School Assist Online. This program was also presented in a small group activity, which provided the teachers with more one-on-one instruction. There were several limitations associated with this program. Many students in this population enrolled and withdrew on a regular basis, so the study was limited to students who were permanently enrolled and whose progress could be tracked throughout the year. All teachers did not actively participate in school-wide implementation of RTIs, and a small fraction of teachers failed to assist in communicating RTI locations to students. In reflecting upon this project, it was determined that this project was very time-consuming and eye-opening. The researcher spent many hours compiling, sorting, and comparing data, as well as interviewing and communicating with coworkers and administrators. It was discovered that attitudes of teachers and their willingness to learn and promote student success can have a profound effect on school performance, and that creating a professional development to meet the needs of all parties involved was not going to be an easy task. The researcher could use this project and the professional development activities in various situations. It could be utilized when attempting to implement any new technology or programs in the school. It could also be used when implementing new ideas within their own course content or classroom. The program could be shared throughout various locations in the Rapides Parish School District and be used, revised, and shared with the technology coordinators and teachers as a means to implement any district-wide initiatives or mandates. The purpose of this study was to determine if collaborative technology platforms can be used to increase student achievements. Teachers should be more knowledgeable of and comfortable with the new methods to collect and analyze data, as well as the multiple forms of student data to help them make informed instructional decisions. The researcher provided an opportunity for teachers to respond to not only the needs of the school, but also to the needs of individual students who were in desperate need of remediation and interventions. I do want to brag 1 second to say that Pineville High School did end up having the highest school performance score in the parish. Thank you for listening to my comp exams. I hope you were not bored to death and that my voice did not get on your nerves as much as it gets on mine. Thank you for the opportunity to complete this master's program.